I got a problem in the garden today. For the most part, everything's doing pretty well. I've made a couple of mistakes this year, which I'll talk about towards the end of this video, but first I got to address the problem I've got right now. I had a squash plant that looked just fantastic yesterday, walked by the garden today, and it's all wilted. And I haven't been in there to check on it yet, but I can almost guarantee I know what the problem is already. So that's what we're going to take a look at today, how to control vine borers. I almost guarantee it's vine borers getting into my squash plant. We'll go check it out. All right, well, before we go back and take a look at the sickly plant, let's take a look at the ones that look good. These, let's see, this is zucchini, this is squash, summer squash. 2 summer squash plants here. Yeah, 2, and a zucchini here, and they're just doing fantastic. All kinds of bushy and all. This is exactly what the one that I'm gonna go show you here in a second looked like yesterday. And then it's over here. Let me take you over here and show you what it looks like today. All right, hopefully you can kind of see it right there. All wilted, all looking just real sickly. When you have a squash plant like that that looks real healthy one day, you might be able to see the one right next to it, still just all bushy and looks great. This one's all wilted, looks like it's about dead. And it just happened overnight, just like that. It's almost always squash vine borers, which are actually a larva of a moth. Let's get in here and take a look at it though, and see if I'm right on that or not. All right, so let me get these leaves back from the healthy plant. There, yep, I can already see it. I guarantee that's what it is. When you have a squash plant like this, well, I think I already said that. Yeah, I already said that. When you have a squash plant like this, it looks all healthy one day and then looks suddenly just like it's gonna die the next. It's almost always squash vine borers. Let me pull you down here close. Hopefully you'll get a better view. It's a little cramped in here. It may be difficult for me to show this, but okay, if I keep the leaves out of the way, hopefully you'll be able to see this, see what's going on here. And here, let me just pull this stake up a little bit. Well, I don't know if I can pull it out of the ground. There we go. This plant's already gone. It's too far gone for me to save. But this is what squash vine borers do. You might notice this kind of sawdust looking stuff. That's a sure sign of them. If I'd been paying attention earlier, I probably could have saved this plant. So what we're looking for is the vine borers themselves. I want to get them out of here because I don't want them to hatch and go on to produce more. So they're probably right down inside here, and this is what the cup's for. I'm going to cut this plant open, see if I can find them. Oh boy, they made their way up there quite a ways probably. There's one. There's one right there. You can kind of see them. This is a culprit. That's what's doing it right there, that little worm. So we're going to drop him in there. And actually I'm going to take this whole plant. There's another one. Look at that. See him? Right there. Scrape them off into this bowl. So here they are. These are the vine borers that came out of there. And those will turn into moths and they'll produce more vine borers if I leave them here. So I need to check my other plants. If you can catch these early, here, let me get the camera out of here, back up so you can see what I'm saying and talking to you. All right, that's a little better. We got a little room to talk here. So if you can catch that early, if you know your plant's being affected, I'm going to check the rest of them. If I notice any spots on them where they're being affected, I'll show you what that looks like, because that plant's gone. It's too far gone. The damage is too bad. There's no saving it. You saw it. But if you can catch it early, a lot of times what you can do is take a really sharp knife, slit that stem open. Don't cut all the way through. Just slit it open, kind of peel it back a little bit, and you can dig them out with a piece of wire or knife point or something like that. Just get them all out of there, and then sprinkle some diatomaceous earth or Sevin dust or something like that. Now, I don't advocate the use of that stuff all the time, but this is a good use for it. Only on the base of the plant, only where that damage has occurred. Sprinkle it on there, because that can get rid of them. You don't want to just go crazy with it and sprinkle it all over the place, because it kills pollinators, it kills good bugs, it kills everything. And there's a lot of bugs in your garden that are good bugs, good to have around. You need the pollinators, you need all those good bugs around, so you don't want to go crazy with this stuff. But again, you just slit the vine open, break it open a little bit. You can dig out whatever bugs you can find in there, whatever worms. The borer themselves, you can dig those out. There's usually going to be 3 or 4 of them at least in there. You dig those out, and then you sprinkle some diatomaceous earth or some 7 dust or something like that over the top of that, and that usually will take care of it and the plant will survive if you can catch it early enough. And that's the trick, catch it early enough. Now what you're looking for is that kind of sawdust looking stuff around the base of the plant. So we'll go around here in just a minute and check and see if I can find any kind of damage to the other plants. If I find them on the other plants, I'll show you that and we'll take care of them then. If not, at least I gave you probably a decent explanation of how to take care of them. So I need to go get rid of these worms here real quick. Actually, let me go ahead and look and see if we've got any other damage on this plant. This plant actually looks pretty good. Let me go around to the other side. All right, there is some damage on that plant. It does look like we got vine borers starting. Let me check this one here. Yep, looks like this one too. They're all over the place. All right, let's see if I can get this taken care of. Let me bring you around to this one over here. We'll take care of it first. All right, this may be kind of hard for me to show on film, but what you'll notice is this sawdust looking stuff right there. And that is signs of a squash borer. So let me see if I can get into this vine just a little bit and dig them out. See if I can keep my hat out of the camera. So I'm just going to cut it open right there. And let's see. Sometimes you can just stick a piece of wire in there, kind of dig them out or kill them. Did I get him? I don't know if I got him or not. There he is. I got him out. Oh, he's kind of gross. I killed him in the process, but that's okay. Oh, there he is. Right there. No, that's not him. Where'd he go? Oh well. So anyway, I got him out of there. I don't know where he went, but I killed him in the process of digging him out, so. I think I pulled 2 of them out of there actually. Let me try this again. There's another one, yep. There he is right there. I think I got them all out of that hole. And there's another hole. Is there? And another hole right there. Let's see if we can get in there. You can't see this one on camera, so it's going to be tricky for me to show it. Now let's just hope I caught this one early enough that I can save the plant. I'm not sure. I think I got him. I think I killed him. That's it. That looks like it. Well, there's another spot right there that kind of looks bad. I think I got those. And another another spot. Good grief, they went crazy on this one. I'm surprised they haven't killed it yet. All right, I think we got this plant taken care of, so there's a good chance this plant's still going to survive. Get back down in there. And it may still make it. We'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, you could go back and sprinkle some diatomaceous earth or some 7 dust around this where these holes are, where you just dug them out, and that'd be sure to get them, but I'm not going to mess with that. If I lose the zucchini and the squash plants, I lose them. I'm not just relying totally on zucchini and squash to feed my family, so, and we've gotten several off these already, so we'll go ahead and hope that that's good enough. Let me go check the other plants, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, well, I went and checked the other plants, and of course, they all had a little bit of damage, so I was able to dig in those holes a little bit, get the grubs out, or hopefully at least kill them. A lot of times what you can do is, if you catch it early like that, take a piece of thin, straight wire, fairly stiff, and insert it in that hole and just kind of stick it up in there and fish around a lot. You might be able to actually kill the grubs. You don't have to necessarily get them out. So hopefully these plants survive. There's a good chance that they will. I caught most of it early. We'll see. We'll see. Well, the only time will tell. We'll know within probably a couple of days whether I got them all and whether I killed them all or not, and whether it's actually going to work. So you might be wondering what I'm going to do with these grubs. Well, I still got the meat chickens, so I'm going to go feed them to the chickens. I'm going to give them this squash plant, let them pick through it, and I'm going to give them these grubs right here, and we'll see how they like them. They haven't quite figured out. They're kind of figuring out that the bugs are good. I mean, if they see a bug, they'll eat it. I just don't know if they'll be able to see these. These aren't real active. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. See how they do with the grubs first. They've kind of learned that usually when I come around, I bring food, so if I back off for a minute, they might find them. Oh yeah, that didn't take them long at all. Now they're fighting over them. Always good to have chickens around when you got varmint or pests like that. All right, you guys want this squash plant too? Here you go. All right, so that's done. Let's go back into the garden. I'm going to show you a couple of mistakes I made this year. Hopefully you can avoid them. You don't make the same mistakes as I did if I share the ones that I made. Some of this I kind of knew better, and some of it's just simple, stupid mistake on my part. So let me take you in there, I'll show you. All right, first mistake I made was with these. And these are my birdhouse gourds. And I planted them right here. I put a nice fence up for them. It's about this tall. And I planted too many of them. These things get monstrous. And I knew they would grow pretty big. I don't know what I was thinking. I shouldn't have put 6 in this area right here. I probably should have put like 2. I've cut this thing back so many times. It is growing over into my cucumbers. Every day I got to come out here basically, pull this thing off the cucumbers. And at this point, I'm just cutting off the excess vines and throwing them out because it is crazy how much this thing has grown. So too much, too close to my other plants. That's probably good for now. I'll come back and take care of the rest of it later. But yeah, it's going crazy. It's grown out here over the fence. It's pulled this fence down. It's just growing into all my plants. It's ridiculous. I went overboard with that. I knew better. Honestly, when I planted them, I thought, well, that may be too much. I didn't expect it to quite be as crazy as it went, but I knew better than to plant 6 of them there. I don't know what I was thinking and why I did that right next to my cucumbers. Everything's doing okay though. I mean, it's not choking the cucumbers out. It did grab a hold of a few of the peppers and started to pull them over, and I got it off them. You can see it's kind of going crazy out here too. That's a daily thing. I got to come out here and clean all this off the, the peppers and things. So that's the one first mistake. And the second mistake is this ground cover that I'm using right here. You've asked me before, a couple of you have asked me before, do I like the ground cover? I love it, and I do love it, but it's not the best for my rows. You may have remembered earlier in the season I had problems with the drip watering. I just gave up on the drip watering. I started using overhead watering again, and it's working much, much better. What I've discovered is that this ground cover is just not porous enough. So where I'm planting the plants, I've got holes cut in it for the plants to go through, but the water's not seeping through it in other places. It's just getting through where the holes are for the plants. So I've gone back through and cut those wider for the plants so they get more water. It has taken me a little bit more water than it normally would to go ahead and keep these things watered, and it's too late in the year for me to switch this out for another one. Now I am going to keep the ground cover that I've got on the walkways and around the fence and all that. There's no reason to switch that out, but the ones that go over the rows where the plants are, I'm going to switch that out with one that's a little bit more porous. I'll test that out and I'll come back with reviews on that if that works well, which I assume it will. But yeah, I made a mistake when I bought this ground cover thinking it was porous and it was going to let the water through, and it just doesn't. Water just kind of pools up on it, puddles up on it. I mean, it kind of soaks through, but not very well. So I'm going to be switching that out at the end of the season and getting a different ground cover. But the other than just where the plants are, I mean, it works great for everything else. It keeps the weeds down, and it does a great job. And you can see my plants aren't struggling. They're doing pretty good. They're getting enough water. I mean, the garden's looking pretty good right now. We're just about at that point where everything's going to just take off. You know, it seems like when you're gardening like this, you're just looking, you're like, no fruits yet, no peppers, no tomatoes yet, no green beans, no cucumbers yet. What's going on? And then you see them start. Oh, they're starting, but they just never seem to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, boom, you got too much of everything. That's the way it seems to go. And that's only about, you know, a week or two away, probably 2 weeks away. It'll be a daily chore to come out here and harvest things and keep up with canning it and freezing it and, you know, preserving it and all those kinds of things. But I'm ready for that. It's been a long time since we had really good fresh vegetables from the garden. We've been getting some squash, doing pretty good on the squash and the zucchini. That's why I'm not too terribly upset about the vine borers and the squash and the zucchini at this point, because I've been eating so much of that stuff lately. It's, you know, I'm not going to be terribly upset if we don't get any more for the rest of the season. But at the same time, I'm not just going to let them have it. I'm going to try to save the plants. So hopefully we do. All right. So anyway, hopefully you learned from my mistakes. You learned something maybe about vine borers if you didn't already know about them. It's pretty common knowledge, so there's a good chance you already knew about it, but that's something to watch for in your plants. Honestly, I did not do a good job of keeping an eye on them early. When I saw that plant wilted, I knew immediately what it was, and I kicked myself because I didn't come out here and search for them early. Vine borers are a problem almost every year. Not every year, but almost every year. And it's just difficult. Now, a couple of things you can do to kind of prevent it is keep in mind, vine borers do tend to nest in the ground. It's a moth that lays its eggs on the squash plant. You can come out at night and check the underside of your leaves. You might be able to find it. You'll have to look up what the moth looks like. A lot of people mistake it for a bee or a wasp, but it is a moth. You can find it on the underside of the leaves, scrape it off. If you find the eggs on the stems, you can scrape them off. That's good, good way to check that early. Or, you know, like I said, you can go out and check your plants. If you see that sawdust looking stuff, especially around where the stems are, that's usually a sign that you've got vine borers in there already. And it's almost too late at that point. Hopefully I got these early enough that these plants will survive. We'll know next day or two, they'll either start wilting or they'll just keep producing and they'll do just fine. So anyway, I guess that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, God bless.